Hello.
Hello. We are finally going to attempt to make ramen.
Yes.
I am so excited. I've been researching lots on different ramen broth. Say ramen broth. Ramen broth. And I still have to say my favorite is miso. We have lots of great Japanese ramen houses in town. But the price of a bowl of ramen can range anywhere from, for a good bowl of ramen, can range anywhere from $11 to $20 for just a bowl of ramen. So this is not your instant noodles, but I'm going to attempt to make it in the pressure cooker. And so I have sliced up about a 3-inch knob of ginger. I've already hit saute, turned it on, added a couple of tablespoons of vegetable oil, and it says hot, so I'm going to add my ingredients now. So my ginger sliced. I have just an onion quartered, leaving the skin on. I've got a whole bulb of garlic that I have taken the skin off and I don't know what it's called, crushed?
Sure.
And we're just going to cook that in here for, I don't know, until it's browned. Might take a little bit. But in the meantime, I had also parboiled all of my bones that I'm using. And parboiling is just boiling your bones to release all of the gunk that's inside the bones. So that you'll have a clear broth, although we don't really want a clear broth. We want a really flavorful, kind of a thicker broth, but we still don't want all that gunk in there. So I've already done that. Basically, you're boiling a pot of water and you're just putting the bones in there, bring it back to a boil and let it boil for about 5 minutes. And that's it. Then dump it into a sink with a colander and rinse off all the bones. I've also sliced up about 2 bunches of green onion, and I'm just using the white and the very light green parts of the green onion. The rest of it you're going to chop up for garnish. I also found a couple of Japanese leeks, which is great, so I'm just going to chop those up roughly, and that's going to go into my broth as well. And if you can't find Japanese leek, that's fine. Just use a regular leek. And I have some shiitake mushrooms that are soaking because they were dried. You'll want 6 of those. You'll want to soak them in warm water for about half an hour. Alright, so everything is smelling so yummy and everything is sufficiently browned or charred. This is what you want. Not just some browning, but some real good browning. Okay. I'm going to turn off the saute mode and start adding the rest of my ingredients. So all the leeks and green onion. Chopping up the coffee mushrooms. So I used pork neck bones, about 3 pounds of pork neck bones. I have chicken carcass. I'm going to break that down a little bit. Everything fits. I'm going to fill to cover. And what I'm going to do is just get it to, that was 7 cups, I'm going to add, so 8 cups of water total. And I'm going to put the lid on. Making sure the sealing knob is on sealing. I'm just gonna hit manual, still 30 minutes. Anyways, I'm gonna do it for, I wonder if it goes up to 120. We will see. Ah, it does.
Huh.
2 hours. I'm gonna do that in the pressure cooker. See what that does. All right. In the meantime, we're gonna work on the ramen eggs and the chashu pork that will go with the ramen. I should have mentioned this at the beginning. This is not a one-day make a meal affair. This is like a 2-day process, which I wasn't really prepared for, but here we are. So my broth is still doing its thing, and I'm now going to make my eggs, and they're different from just soft-boiled eggs. I'm making it with the Joule because I find that the eggs turn out exactly how I like it, and they even have a app recipe for ultimate ramen eggs, which is exactly what I'm making. So look at those ooey gooey eggs. Delicious, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to set the temperature and set the time. The time to make incredible eggs? Yes. So the water is just preheating, and then once the water is at the right temperature, I'm going to add the eggs. You can make your eggs however you want. It's basically a 6-minute egg. Alright, I'll be back in a few minutes to add my eggs. Alright, so I find the fastest way to add my eggs is to use a slotted spoon. Just add them one at a time. Right, that's it. Starting my app.
That's it.
So it's 8 minutes in sous vide, and we made 6 eggs. That's it for now. Okay, while the eggs are cooking, I'm just going to quickly make our marinade for the eggs. So I have half a cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, 1 cup of sake, half a cup of soy, and half a cup of mirin. Now this is like the slowest pouring bottle ever. Because just this way you don't over pour.
I suppose. And about 30 minutes later.
Just gonna stir it up to dissolve that sugar. Hopefully this container is big enough to fit all 6 eggs.
No.
Well, and to cover in the liquid without it overflowing.
I think it's going to overflow.
You think so?
Yeah, let's take bets.
You always counter everything I say. Alright, my eggs are ready, and I have the faucet on because I want my water to be really cold. I'm going to dunk my eggs in there. Only because I never have ice at home. So I saw this really cool method in peeling your eggs, which is a little bit of water in a jar. Stick your egg in, put the lid on top. Whoa. And spin it. And it makes for easier peeling. I don't know if you ever, well, my experience with peeling eggs is that they always come out ugly. I always get bits of pieces of egg on all my shell. So I'm peeling parts of the egg away, but I think it's partly I sous vide the eggs, so that's why the shells don't stick. And even if you make them in the Instant Pot, the eggs also come out perfect like this. Yeah, so that wasn't too bad, right? So I think Dude was right. So I took out some of the sauce, and I'm going to use that marinade for my pork.
Ha!
So I'm going to take some paper towel, and I'm going to put it on top of the eggs so that they are completely covered. And we're going to stick that in the refrigerator. Well, until tomorrow.
I spy with my little eye. Pork belly.
Pork belly is delicious.
Did you know that before the hipsters got a hold of this meat, it was probably like a dime per pound, and we used to eat it when we were little kids?
Yep, cheapest cut of meat ever. And now it's like so expensive in comparison.
We blame you, hipsters.
So I have about 1.5 pounds. So say 1.5 pounds.
Pound and a third? Alright.
1 1/3 pound piece of pork belly.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to try to roll it in a round, which I don't think I'll be very successful.
You know, just try.
So should I put this part in first? And that part to go, no, see, it's not going to work. Well, I'm going to do what I can.
What does Yoda say?
All right, I'll give it a try.
No, try not. Do or do not. There is no try.
Hey, that's not bad. Look at that.
See? Thanks, Yoda.
Because I had all that leftover marinade from the eggs, I'm just going to use the same marinade.
Oh, how
For
did you
my
wind up
pork.
with
I know, it was
so
brilliant.
much marinade left over? Just wondering.
I think it'll be the perfect amount. So I've already chopped up some green onions. So I have 3 green onions chopped up, 3 cloves of garlic smashed, and about a thumb size piece of ginger sliced.
What if you have like a giant thumb or like a microscopic sized thumb?
You know what? It doesn't really matter.
You know, possibilities.
I wonder if I should move some of that stuff to the other side. Like that. There. I'm going to pour my marinade in. Oops, sorry about that.
Yeah.
And it's in this bag because I'm going to sous vide. It's going to take 24 hours to sous vide. It'll be so delicious. I am going to sous vide the pork belly, and Chef Step, who created the Joule, has some braising recipes now, which I'm so excited about. So I'm obviously not using their recipe for the pork belly, but I am using their recipe script. So now I'm just gonna hit set temperature for the pork belly, and we'll be cooking it for 24 hours. And it's fresh. Oh yeah, I certainly do want to cook the best pork belly ever. Right, so now all I'm going to do is drop it into the water. Put that into place. That's it. 24 hours. Starting your timer on the app. All right, I had cooked the broth for a couple hours on high pressure, and I let it natural release because my pot was so full. I didn't want to release the steam by quick release to depressurize it, because I didn't want soup spewing everywhere. So just gonna take a look at it. Looks pretty good. Oh my goodness, it smells so good. I don't know if you can see, but the broth is still very clear. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is, since we don't need it until tomorrow, I'm going to slow cook it for another 4 hours. Okay, so I had already hit cancel, and I'm just going to hit slow cook and let it go. I don't think I've ever spent 2 days cooking a dinner.
Well, it's gonna be good, right?
It better be good. My stock, I've skimmed some of the fat out of there already, and now I'm going to transfer it into another pot to heat through before serving. And I don't want all the stuff in there, so I'm just going to scoop out the broth. And it still isn't as creamy thick as I anticipated, but it is dark and the smells really good. Okay, well that didn't get me very far because now I've hit all this meat. I think I'm gonna have to pour.
Okay, miss. Just gonna go for it. You clean up whatever mess you create.
Look. I'm just going to use my
I'm
hands.
looking, yes, from a distance.
Look, ta-da! I didn't make a mess. Wow, this is going to be so flavorful. My soup is now boiling. So I want to add my miso now. And I'm going to use half red and half white. You can actually get it in the stores already. Half white, well, a mixture of the red and white. I can't remember what it's called. It starts with an A. In fact, I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm not even going to try. I think it's ASAWA. In any case, I'm just going to use half red miso and half white miso. And I have a piece of parchment paper on here because I store it in the freezer with the parchment paper touching all of the miso, and I put the lid on and it stays fresher longer that way. There's another tip for you. You're going to use about a 1/4 cup of each. So you want half a cup total. And I'm just going to eyeball it. And we're just going to take a little bit at a time and kind of whisk it in. I'm going to burn my tongue, I know it. Oh, it's getting there. Not quite yet. It's quite yummy. I'm going to add some more white. So altogether, I think I used about 3/4 cup of miso paste altogether. So half red miso and half white miso. I'm going to add just a little bit of chili flakes, like a pinch, just to give it a little bit of a zing. Not too much.
Yeah, I think that's good.
We'll just let that heat through. We'll just keep it warm while we're heating up the water now to make the noodles. I have my pork belly that I'm going to cut up into slices.
We had a little taste of it, and it is just jam-packed full of flavor from that sous vide process.
I have some, this is called wood ear. It comes in a bag and dried. It doesn't say wood ear, but in Chinese it says black wood ear, but it's really dried black fungus.
Yeah, that's the translation, but yeah.
You soak it in hot water for at least an hour, and it just adds a little bit of a crunch texture to your ramen. You'll also find this in like hot and sour soup.
Ah, yes.
We have our green onions chopped. And what are we missing? Eggs. My ramen eggs. So here are the ramen eggs, and we had them marinating for about 16 hours total, but I think they recommend anywhere from 4 hours to about 12 hours, so overnight. So I'm just going to cut one open and show you what it looks like on the inside.
What? So good.
So you can see that the egg yolk is still quite runny. Not quite runny, but runny. And then the outside of the yolk is more of a fudgy texture. They're going to be yummy. Okay, it's gooey.
Yes. Behold.
All right, we're going to try to slice these into about 1/4 inch slices. I'm having a hard time, you know, me and my knife skills. Look at that, looks so yummy. All right, so I am using these Korean Chinese style fresh noodles because I couldn't find any fresh ramen noodles where I was, and I've read that ramen noodles is basically Chinese noodles, Chinese style noodles, so I'm really hoping that this is it. Okay, so worst case scenario, they're not, but close enough, I think.
You've also read that some cook uses the fresh ramen packs.
Yeah, so you can get fresh ramen packages with the soup base in there already, and
Just to forgo the soup base.
yeah, and just use the noodles. So 3 to 4 minutes. Right, they're a little bit wider than ramen noodles, but I think it'll be okay. All right, our noodles. Soup. Woo. A little bit of every topping. I've got some dried seaweed here. Slice of pork and ramen eggs.
Okay, because this was a 2-day project and a special one, the tasting will condense, but Flo will do it.
All right. I have to get the perfect bite though, so you gotta bear with me.
Okay, you gotta get some of that ajitama egg on there.
Really?
No?
All right.
That's the perfect bite. It's in the bowl.
And I don't know how to do that. Look. Chopstick cutting skills.
Yeah.
All right, the perfect bite. Mmm. That's pretty good for homemade ramen, if I do say so myself. The noodles aren't the perfect ramen noodles, but they go well. The soup is so flavorful. I wish I could describe it. You can really taste the nuttiness of the miso, and just all the flavors that were infused into the broth. And the pork was really super tender. Yeah. Delicious. If you like this video, please click like and subscribe to my channel. Find me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram. Thanks for watching. Isn't that better, Mr. Complainer?
For the record, I wasn't complaining.